Now, the SIU Tribunal has granted the Special Investigating Unit its application to add entities that's linked to the Digital Vibes case investigated by the unit. Special Tribunal Judge Lebogang Modiba has found individuals and entities linked to former Health Minister Dr. Zweli Mkhize's family have a vested interest in the litigation launched by the SIU to recover state funds that were paid to Digital Vibes. Now, the investigation relates to a 150 million rand tender that the SIU found to be irregularly awarded to the communications company Digital Vibes that was run by two of Mkhize's associates. Now, the SIU Tribunal spokesperson, Advocate Selby Makgotho, joins us now for the latest here. Advocate, good to speak to you again. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning, Sakina. Thank you indeed for having me. Good morning to the viewers.
Advocate Makgotho, so just looking at this application, so we do know that previously the SIU was trying to recover money from, I think, about 33 entities, if I'm not mistaken, and or persons, and then you brought this application. So perhaps just to explain to our viewers in a nutshell what this latest application was about and, of course, the outcome from yesterday.
This was actually an interlocutory application in the form of a joinder application. By way of a brief background is that sometime in June, actually, when this matter first arrived at the Special Tribunal, it was a preservation order wherein an amount of 22.4 million was preserved. And the undertaking then that was done in the form of pleadings was that investigations by the applicants were still underway. And on the 19th of October 2021, we did receive an application by the applicants wherein they sought to join the proposed respondents to the main review application. And the contention in the form of legal submission at the time was that these people, the respondents, have a direct and substantial interest, and there was a matrix of relationship that was pursued, and that also formed part of the finding by the Special Tribunal yesterday. So in a nutshell, the proposed respondents, five rather, are now joined to the proceedings, and when the matter proceeds to the next level, which is the review application, these proposed respondents have been joined, and therefore the recovery process will also extend to them.
So you applied for 6, and of course 5, as you now point out to us, were granted. So explain to us, who are these people or entities, and how are they actually linked to this case?
By virtue of the submissions before the Special Tribunal, All Out Trading Pty Ltd, Tusokhuhle Farming, Ms. Thokozile Mkhize, Cedar Falls and Sirena Falls have now been joined to the proceedings. And in terms of how they are alleged to have benefited from this, the finding by the Special Tribunal arising out of the pleadings was that these people and entities have in a way had a relationship, have actually received undue enrichment or in a form of a gratification. The long and short of it is that this contract of 150 million from the National Department of Health that was awarded to Digital Vibes, according to the pleadings, was that it actually found a way to one of the respondents in the form of Mateta Project, who is cited as respondent number 18. And the 26th respondent who controls Mateta, one Mr. Mtepe, is respondent number 26 in terms of the court papers, is the one who is alleged to have then further distributed these funds cumulatively to the value of 10.6 million to the proposed respondents. So this matrix of relationship that I've alluded to looked into these relationships and the extent to which these proposed respondents have each benefited.
So just looking at the companies that you've cited for us there, Advocate, in terms of who owns those companies, I guess that's also important, especially on the back of an interview that I just did with the Ethics Committee chairperson in Parliament.
Yes, in terms of the relationships, there was actually there are two paragraphs where in the special tribunal in its finding looked into the extent to which the entities are being owned, the shareholding thereof, and other business associates and related links. And these links have been found to have connection with the former Minister of Health, and that included members of his immediate family and business associates. So this matrix of relationship and the extent to which monies have been flown in. One other finding by the special tribunal was that the funds that actually came from Mateta projects, this 10.6 million, were actually aimed in a manner or were such that they aim to obscure the flow of funds. So that level of obscurity had also been raised as a manner of a direct and substantial interest. Hence, the finding by the special tribunal. So the association has been picked up and is also one of the findings by the special tribunal.
So the former minister had previously indicated that he will be taking your report on review to the High Court. Has there been any developments in that regard?
Well, the review is not before the special tribunal. It is before the High Court in Pretoria. We are therefore not privy to those details because it is not before us. So I do believe that the processes are in another court, and as such, we do not have details thereof.
Does it have any material impact on your case, though, the review process?
At the moment, we have not yet picked up any immediate relationship between the proposed or anticipated review proceedings and the matters that are before the special tribunal. These are two separate processes because the special tribunal had received applications as early as June last year, and we are now going through case management processes to make sure that the matter is ripe for hearing, and the application to review and set aside the contract and recover the monies that have been spent on this or been paid to these individuals and or entities are in the main recovered. So we are still going into the final stage of going into the review application, wherein witnesses will be coming to appear before the special tribunal. Any form of evidence that will be so required will then be interrogated. So at the special tribunal, we are only guided by the level of evidence that we have before us to come to a proper determination.
So, Advocate Makgotho, just in terms of the processes now, with all of the entities in your scope right now, when and how does the process unfold to a point where you now start to recover funds that you believe are related to this tender? Do you have to wait for that tender to be set aside, or how will it unfold?
Let me explain that the special tribunal is not an investigative body. It is an adjudicative body, and to come to that determination, it is upon the investigations by the SIU. So we grant orders, and the execution thereof of our orders lies solely in the discretion of the parties. So the applicant in this case is the Special Investigating Unit, and once we have come to the finality of the matter, having gone through all the legal processes, ultimate finding will be made, and the execution in terms of the recoveries, the execution of the order will then be referred to the parties for the recovery, because then they will be having that legal standing in the form of a court order.
And just a final one, Advocate, with regard to the Beitbridge fencing, that particular case involving, I think it was Magwa Construction. What are the latest developments on that one?
In terms of the Beitbridge border post, sometime this week we have received papers from the service providers, that is Caledon River Properties Trading as Makgotho Construction and Prof Team CC, wherein they seek leave to appeal the special tribunal order, arguing, amongst others, that the special tribunal has erred in making certain findings, primarily wherein it made a finding that they should be derived of the profits that they have received from the contract. And as such, they are seeking leave to appeal the judgment. We have given them until the 26th of April to file in the papers, wherein after the SIU and the National Department of Public Works will then also file their heads of argument. And sometime in May, we have proposed 3 consecutive dates, alternative dates, wherein this matter will be ventilated, and at the end of the day, we will know whether the appeal succeeds or not.
Well, Advocate Selby Makgotho, thanks so much for your time, but I believe it's your birthday today, so here goes me, reputation down the line. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear Selby, happy birthday to you. Have a fantastic one. Thanks for speaking to us this morning.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks so much. That was SIU Tribunal spokesperson Selby Makgotho on the court's judgment that granted the SIU its prayer to join entities linked to the Digital Vibes case investigated by the unit.